Hello, Eurovision fans. This is That Eurovision Site. My name is Euan. Joining me today is...
Hi, I'm Angus, world's most annoying he/him pronoun user.
I'm Shiloh, and Angus makes he/him pronouns jokes to target me specifically,
No, I do it towards everyone. Like, let's be clear.
but only
I
on
do it,
videos with me. I've asked you this.
well, I
You
only
say it to
repeat.
make me laugh. We've established this already.
Well, yes, but that
I
that
mean,
as
because
it should
let's
be.
let's face it, today is going to be a discussion that we may involve several arguments. I'm hoping it involves several arguments. If we're not sanctioned by our Lord and Savior Tim, who's the head of our site, then we will have done something wrong. Because you've probably already read the title. Because let's face it, you're not just going to go into a video without actually reading the title. We're going to be discussing our dreams as being executive supervisor for the day. Now, of course, we can't do everything that we want for if we were executive supervisor. So it's basically, what if we were in complete control of the Eurovision Song Contest and could do whatever the hell we wanted? So we're going to propose some ideas and then we're going to critique each other's. Now, we've not actually heard each other's ideas, so we're hearing some of these for the first time. So there may be some controversial points, particularly from Angus, because let's face it, he's got the worst opinions on this video. So why don't we start off with Angus? Angus, what's one of your first points?
Um, Up the song length limit to 4 minutes. Look, I understand why we have the 3 minute song length limit, and it has its function. It had its function, but I do think that for a variety of reasons, I would love to have the limit up to 4 minutes.
Now, I have a
Simple.
takedown of this right away. You can up the time limit all you want, but it will get ignored because songs are getting shorter because of like TikTok and stuff. Like this is a noticeable phenomenon that like even this year we had a lot of songs closer to 2 minutes 30. If you up the rule to 4 minutes, that's not going to change shit.
We'll get two good songs out of that. You know what? That's more than we usually get in Eurovision.
I do know that the country that will be most beneficial that will benefit this the most will be Italy. So it's interesting that you're going to have to listen to
Oh,
Italian men more.
sure.
However, I hate the idea. It's stupid. It's been said for years, and this like pre-TikTok, it's like, well, R&B and all of this sort of stuff, and I'm always a big advocate for bringing that into Eurovision. They're longer, and like you need more to give them more impact. If you can't make your song have impact in 3 minutes, it's not going to have impact in 4 minutes. It's a terrible idea. You're just wasting time, and the contest already runs too long, and I hate it, and you're stupid.
What a
Somebody
fruitful
really needs to
discussion.
write enemies to lovers about you too.
Enemies to enemies, but with the
Or
occasional
that.
love in the middle. So I think it's
Enemies
safe
to
to
enemies, but
say,
there was only one bed.
and that's why you're not invited to our house in Switzerland next year.
I'm not going.
Well, so we've safely agreed that we hate Angus's idea.
I don't hate it. I just think that it's useless. I
I
think
would
that,
also counter this that we need a 2 minute 45 minimum.
okay, now this is interesting. I think of, I don't hate that.
The biggest, right, I know this is super controversial, but I will fight anyone. Animan Pita, Finland 2015, was a good song. It was just too short. It took, like, by the time you actually got, like, really into the song, it ended. And if songs are going to keep getting shorter, that's not acceptable. Like, you're going to Eurovision, actually make a proper song. 2 minutes 45 is not that difficult to make.
Especially because like caring about the song composition is really less of a thing that people do at Eurovision these days. Like it's not if we impose a time minimum, that's really not going to affect like the artistic mastery or whatever so greatly because nobody cares anyway. They
I
are
care.
just No, no, no.
I also
know,
care, but probably not to the extent that is being referred to.
I know that you people care. I also care, but the people writing the songs and the delegations don't care. They care about putting on a nice stage show.
Well, that's
You see what
debatable
I'm
for a
saying?
lot of
Well,
countries.
have you seen some of the stagings?
Well, I think that some people have stupid opinions on what constitutes a nice stage show.
Just
I
further to that point, it really annoys me, this whole thing in the Eurovision world where, like, if you have something super minimal in stagings, like, it's got no stagings, like, it does.
It was an
Just be
intentional choice, but this isn't what we're here to talk about today.
I will look, on the one hand, I think it would be good to have, to stop the TikTokification of music, even if it's only at the Eurovision Song Contest, because at least give me a bridge. Or give your song no structure, that's also fine. Like I know Peter does, like, it does have a song structure, but not like a conventional song structure, at least, but that I'm fine with. But give me a bridge, at least give me something to like mix it up. But I just like maximum creative versatility possible at the contest, and there are more rules that I can come up with, but there's like I just want more freedom for the singers and the songwriters.
Shall I go with my first controversial idea?
Yeah.
Dance breaks should be banned.
Oh, but what constitutes dance break?
Whatever I don't like.
Whatever the fuck Eleni Ferreira did.
I was more thinking the absolute monstrosity that was slow-mo. Now I hate slow-mo, and I feel it's like it's fitting that I need to bring up how much I hated
Was
slow-mo
robbed.
in. Well, of course. But all of these annoying people in the fandom are like, oh my god, look what amazing she is. This is amazing. Like, your fave could never. And it's never about any singing. It's not about the song. It's always just some really bad, over choreographed, messy dance break. Perfect example, slow-mo. And as much as I loved some of the ones like Blanca's, because it was just carnage, but in a good way that actually complemented it, it shouldn't have been there. If you need to stop the song to dance, then you're just admitting that the song is terrible and it needs some choreography.
Okay. So in response to that, I have two I do now have two real suggestions. One of them is a little more chaotic than the other.
That is the spirit of this video.
So this will probably be less controversial coming from me specifically, or coming from this particular combination of people. Politics rule. It needs to be stopped, or at the very least, it needs to be amended somewhat. Because while I don't think either me or Angus or anyone else really properly affiliated with the site has published any kind of comprehensive manifesto as to why Eurovision is political, actually, and the politics rule is just an excuse to bring down the hammer on whoever the EBU wants. This is an opinion that is shared by not just me. I won't speak for everybody on the website, but not just me. Therefore, I think it would just save a lot of people a whole lot of headaches if the EBU just sort of quietly removed that rule, or at least defined what counts as political content. Because if you're like, okay, like you can't have lyrics saying death to this other country outright, but you can like subtly propagandize, which is what everybody does anyway. Like that, and they have a clear and forcible line that they actually enforce, which, you know, maybe they won't do that. That might solve some problems. Does anybody have thoughts on this and about Euan's dance break thing before I get to my other, more stupid point?
Oh wait, no, you need to hold off because we need another stupid point from both myself and Angus before we get to that other one. I
No, we
completely
can't.
agree.
We can't discuss?
Oh no, sorry, I agree. As in before we go to your second point.
Oh yes, yes,
But
yes.
this one,
Okay.
I agree, and they should make it consider if they. I think that I'm more on the amend and make it more explicit and more strict, because yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
Again,
Complete mess.
as to whether or not they actually enforce it when the three of us get done being God King, like, but the point is that it's now like a textual thing, and I guess like people could maybe sue them or something if they disqualify somebody a little too meanly.
I mean, this is quite a day to say that. Um,
Oh,
We're recording this
I
on the
forgot.
day of the EBU, of the Joost Klein investigation ending, and the EBU then saying we did everything correctly. And Afrotros obviously saying like, well, we can't say fuck the EBU right now because Coral Mass already did that earlier, but we're basically saying it again. And we have some more stuff to fight with them over it. So yeah, it's quite the day. I would say I understand to amend the politics rule, but I don't think there's a good way to amend it. Maybe I'm just being cynical. I'm just like fully abolish it.
It's a
But also,
liberalism versus leftism thing here, where it's like, at least as defined in the are either of you or any of our viewers familiar with the YouTube video essayist Alexander Avila?
yes. I
Did you
just
watch
watched his
the
Hamilton
video about
actually.
Hamilton? Yes,
Yes.
okay. So that's informing this argument here, where it's like, do we throw it out entirely? Or do we lay in a nice little modified framework? And
to be fair, I think we should just throw out Hamilton because God, that's a terrible musical.
we're not talking about Hamilton.
I mean, that's
today.
neither here nor there. No,
That's not what
I
we're here to
get the
talk
point.
about.
I'm just like, I think it's so unenforceable, like so impossible to write a rule that will be enforceable that you're better off. Okay, look, I'm going to go into a little bit of diatribe here. The thing is, I know that everyone says it, and we've all also been guilty of repeating it, even though it's not true. Everyone says, "Oh, Eurovision was founded to bring like a war-torn continent together in the spirit of unity, hope, and music." Blah blah blah. None of that's true. It was just to promote TV and to test out the technology for live continent-wide broadcasting. Like the rest has been tacked on later, but that's the thing. If we could like if the EBU's mission is going to focus on being like, well, we want to like encourage broadcasters to be efficient broadcasters, and sure, only national broadcasts become a member of us, but they need to be somewhat politically independent. I mean, you can argue what politically independent means. Does that mean no political like trying to be perfectly neutral about everything, or just letting the people that work at your company say whatever they want to say? Like within limits, etc., etc. And I'm like, if we just let the presenters talk their mouths off and be like, oh, this song actually calls for like some weird political shit, then we can go ahead, especially considering we've had like an openly anti-abortion song in the contest back in the 90s that everybody loves. And to be clear, it's a good song, but it was very much Hungary 94 or something like that. Euan knows the one I mean.
I thought it was Poland 94.
No, Poland was
Poland 94.
Oh, okay. I've been thinking the wrong one. It's been the
or maybe
the
it's
abortion
both.
song.
Who even knows anymore? But that's my point. Like we've
Now,
had so many
given she did sing that song entirely in Hungarian, and I'll tell you, I don't really know very much Hungarian. I watched that contest 2 days ago, and I was like, yeah, Hungarian Joni Mitchell. This is a little boring,
Exactly,
and
like
did not.
The song is what it is, right? But I'm just like, I'd rather have people have the possibility to then discuss these things rather than a new weird unenforceable rule. Like, oh, it's all about bring the contest in disrepute or not, and trying to quantify that. No one can quantify that, and that's what the rule would be. But anyway,
I think the rule should like if there's an amendment rule, it should be based on explicitness, because, for instance, Armenia 2015 was originally called "Don't Deny."
Sure.
I mean, there was no hiding that song, and I think there was original lyrics too, were about the Armenian genocide and Turkish refusal to acknowledge that it's a genocide.
I mean, not just Turkish, bestie.
But it's specifically aimed at
Turkey wasn't there. They weren't competing.
Yeah, but the song's still about it because it was the centenary of the
Oh, sure.
so that's because it's like that's why they had one person from each continent and an
Yes.
Armenian, because it was a bringing together of
Mhm.
diasporas. The song was too explicit, but they were forced to change it. They're still getting that message across without making a specific political point.
Mhm.
Or for instance, like I was not of the opinion that 1944 should have been banned. Like there were a lot of people in 2016, because it's not explicit. It's just saying this is what happened. It's not making a political point.
Yeah, I think that there's a way you can legislate that where it's like you can't have any like threats of violence. You can't advocate
Mhm.
for like certain kinds of harm. Where like I can't bring a sword on stage and be like,
Well,
yes, hello.
I would disagree with not having a sword on stage, because Georgia 2007 is amazing.
I wasn't ending with the sword. I can't bring a sword on stage and then sing a song about what are two countries that hate each other a little bit enough that I won't yes, hello. I am the Netherlands and I am going to use this sword on Belgium or whatever. What?
That's just so funny. It's just such a funny image. I'm also just reminded of like the actual like so nationalistic it sparked massive controversy song that we had in national final season this year. One of multiple, really, but especially the one that almost went to Eurovision for Serbia.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. But you know, like you can't advocate violence upon like a certain group or whatever, but you can go up and say, well, you did violence to me, though.
Because a lot of the greatest Eurovision songs are political, like to some degree political. Last two Ukrainian ones, they're
Well,
subtle
and also
about
the
like
definition of
yeah.
what's political is very difficult to pin down. I mean, there's like because
Because
depending on like
with that band like Nulism, or because that is making a statement in itself. Yeah, it's very subtle, but it's still making a political statement.
right. There's all kinds of political statements. Even songs like, I don't know, like Sound of Silence or whatever. I don't know why that's the one that's coming up in my head right now. That's like on the surface level, you know, it's like a breakup song from Australia and she has some like future tech thing that she's doing. Like that's not really political, but it is also situated in a political context. I'm done.
So let's go to Angus's next controversial opinion, which is probably going to be awful.
We're not going to dissect the dance break thing.
But yeah, well, do you have opinions on the dance break ban? Because
Again, enforceability question mark, but
it
as
would
such,
annoy the worst people in the fan community, and that's what I'm about.
Yeah, it is.
I would say
isn't
like
it?
if you have like a music like a purely musical part in your song, at least be as the performing artist involved in the music part, which none of the dance break artists are.
Mhm.
Like there's a difference between like a singer-songwriter who makes dance music kind of vibe, where you know one-man band or even a full band doing a dance break, or someone who gets music written for them doing a dance break. Tim is
Maybe
going to
it's
have my head for that statement.
I think there's a big difference between something like the obvious point of it being natural, like Spain 2009, where there's the stop in the singing, where it's just naturally part of that song and the energy of it. And then something like Slow Mo, where it's like you've literally made a version and added a stop to it. Like that's just what I just can't stand.
like where maybe it's like the recording of the song that you submit that goes on the album has to be like the version that gets played live.
Yeah, but it needs more than that, because like you there needs to be singing for at least in this 30-second.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't get songs like Nocturne though. Not that we're getting those
I
lately.
mean, Euan
like-
hates
Nocturne
that
wasn't
song
good.
famously.
Okay, you can
Because he
feel
has
how he
bad-
likes.
Euan has such bad opinions, right?
I hate the 90s. And the 80s as well.
I hate-
Anything from 82 to like 98 is just right off.
This is not what we're here to talk about today. We can make a video about how bad the 90s were another time.
I will defend the mid-90s.
I won't. That's not what we're doing right now.
Let's move on. Angus, what's your next controversial opinion?
Oh, gold. There are so many that I could have. But if it's genuinely me as the ESC supervisor on like, you know, a random day in April, so I get like my rules get enacted that season and everything, I just want to be able to send songs back to broadcasters to be like, this is not competing. Pick something else. And I can also do that because I just think that the national final format stinks, or because your point system is utterly broken, Benidorm.
I think that enshrining that kind of veto power and then giving it to somebody, to whoever, whatever Nordic man happens to walk into the door after you, I think that's dangerous.
That is dangerous. To be fair, maybe we should just ban anyone from the Nordics being EBU supervisor. Maybe that's a better rule.
Svante Stockhelius was fantastic.
I'll pretend like I know who certain EBU supervisors
he was
are.
he was the one that brought in the
Mid-2000s?
semi-final. Yeah, the one that brought in the semi-finals. I mean, he stopped the ridiculous qualification system and just thought and actually put in a semi-final, which was how it took a bloody decade to come up with that is beyond me.
Okay. So, but he doesn't work there anymore though.
No.
So so we can still ban Nordic men or whatever.
Sure. Well, yeah, let's ban the Nordics.
Sorry, I
So-
guess to all of the Marcos and Martinez fans who apparently watch our videos, I'm told that that is not an insignificant amount of our viewership.
They watch the Marcus and Martinez videos and maybe the other Melfest stuff.
Well, just in
Hey.
case.
Okay, Shiloh, what's your next controversial opinion?
Don't you still have one, Euan?
I mean, I've got many. Okay, it's not gonna happen. It's a pure pipe dream. Expel Australia. And
Okay.
also bring back, actually work to bring back previously participating broadcasters, actually help them with the stability of trying to make sure their public service broadcaster is functioning, so we can have Slovakia, well, maybe not Slovakia given the current politicization of the broadcaster, Bosnia and Herzegovina, North Macedonia, Monaco, back, Andorra. Yeah, because
I mean, yeah.
why do we have Australia when we don't have Monaco or Andorra?
That actually relates to what my next point would have been, which is completely change up the system of how paying the EBU works and how the costs work, which anyone who's been listening to the podcast knows I've been hammering on for since the moment I joined the website.
Which
I
is
don't
what,
even
like
think-
3 years ago now?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in the world who's not looking at that EBU spreadsheet understands how it works, because they're very confusing how it changes year to year. Like
I mean,
Malta
the
was
rules
paying
are
like
confusing.
Malta was paying twice as much as Ireland.
That's
At one
stupid.
point?
Well, the thing is, it depends. I believe the two main factors are the country's population and how successful we are at Eurovision. So there's this sort of this
But
cursed thing
also
of like,
your
if you do,
your economy
yes.
as well, which seems just a bit
Look, I
strange.
just think,
Yeah.
look, I know the Netherlands might drop out any moment, but
hopefully.
honestly, if you look at how much the Netherlands pays, and that's not even touching how relatively little actually the Big Five pay. If you compare to how much an hour of primetime TV costs, Eurovision is a fucking bargain. It's the bargain of bargains. It's the cheapest TV program you can put on in prime time, like by a country mile. And
It's
that's
the
the
same.
thing.
It's the same in the UK. It's like by far the absolute cheapest Saturday night they will ever have. There's of
Exactly.
course the cost on top of it because they waste a load of money in how they actually do the selections and promotions.
Yeah, but
and
I'm talking even the full budget because like
Yeah.
Spain, for example, like this is not their Benidorm budget, which is separate. But you can actually compare it to Benidorm costs like easily 3 million or more each year for the broadcaster plus the local community, which is predominantly like broadcasting related costs. Like yes, there are some other event costs included in it. The full Spanish Eurovision participation costs 750,000 euros or thereabouts, roughly each year. And that includes like the hotel stays and the airfares and the God knows what. So Spain could in theory easily pay like 1 million each year, and in return Montenegro or Bosnia and Herzegovina could basically compete for free because they pay. Sure, I know it's nothing or it sounds very little, but like they can't bring up the almost 50,000 euros each year. And it's a small difference, but you can totally do that. And in general, maybe speaking of the Big Five, break up the UK, let the BBC only take care of England, and have Scotland and Wales participate independently.
Now that is a thing that I don't know if it's in the EBU's purview, though.
It is actually allowed. Well, it was allowed at one point where you could. The rules did actually allow subnational participation, but I don't know if it's still allowed because there wouldn't be an independent telecom system, so you wouldn't be able to actually have voting televotes.
But you don't need the telecom system anymore because in Australia you already can't vote via telecom anymore. It's credit card exclusive, for example.
Those won't be allowed in the UK though. Because there's a set rules of like how the live broadcasting works because there was a scandal like 15 years ago about that sort of thing, and like that's why we also don't have text voting, because it doesn't fully count all of the votes, and especially in short periods of time, and is a little bit dodgy. So they wouldn't allow that, but also it's still the same. Like my computer regularly says that I'm not where I am, but still in the UK, how do you verify that those computers are all actually saying they're in the right place? So I don't think you'd still be able to have like the subnational televoting with that. But I do think the United Kingdom should cease to exist. So that's
sounds like somebody needs to fix their infrastructure.
And that's coming from an
I know
American.
I'm one to talk.
Right, Shiloh, what's your next heinous
So the
opinion?
Eurovision Song Contest, right?
It's a contest. Are you familiar with it at all?
Allegedly, there are songs competing, but sometimes it's alleged
It
music.
needs to do one of two things. Draw back from its focus on mass marketability and television appeal and actually make it about songwriting, which it is not going to do. Or change its name and have it be a Eurovision something else contest. Whatever you're gonna say it now.
You're just reminding me of well, okay, people from our other website, if you're watching this, I love that you did this, and this is purely affectionately that I'm bringing this up. Eurovision World wrote after the entire Malta 2022. Remember how like Emma Muscat won with one song, and then the day after they select a different song?
No.
Well, that happened, and then Eurovision World wrote like this thing of like, in 2023, Malta will hold a Malta Eurovision Song Contest. Last year, despite it being the Malta Eurovision Song Contest, the winning song didn't go to Eurovision. They were like very particular and salty about it, and they were right. They were absolutely right.
There's a lot of misleadingness going on in terms of like, oh, okay. So for us and for most yearly casual viewers, right? If they are watching Eurovision, they understand that Eurovision in this day and age means a certain thing. It means a flashy stage show. It means understanding that the word song in the name is just for show, right? But the EBU, from a strategic perspective, like from a business standpoint. They want to, like, as a brand, they want to get as many people as possible involved in watching, right? And that means that it is potentially to their detriment to be misleading about what kind of show it is that they're putting on. The Eurovision song contest of like the 60s and whatever, where they like just had the juries, like, look, say what you want about the juries.
We will get to the juries in several controversial points later.
Sure, so we'll get to the juries. Say what you will about the juries. From a theoretical perspective, if you put thought into the national juries, if there is some kind of oversight being put into how broadcasters select the members of their national juries, like, in theory, this does control for the marketability versus quality thing. Because right now, this is the Eurovision marketability contest. This is the Eurovision smash hit contest. The Eurovision big flashy stage show contest. But it's not really a song contest anymore. The songs that win are generally like not terrible or too out there, but there aren't really risks being taken. And I think that like if you are in theory rewarding composition, you should be rewarding risk, right? There have been a lot of songs. What?
Have a point that I think could tie into this rewarding risk, because one of my ideas is the automatic qualifiers should not just be the winner. The other top 3, top 5 should actually qualify as well, because sometimes being that really risky song that isn't to everyone, you're going to get a ridiculously good mark, but you're not going to win. But you're not getting any reward for that great result. And I feel like that having that automatic qualifier, having that recognition and that reward could tie into this, how to make the song contest better in this regard that you're saying.
Sure. Or that there need to be like 2 separate awards given out on television, and that it's like a bicameral. That's a politics word that's not applicable here. Okay, so you know FIK. You know how much we all love to hate on FIK because like they don't really know what they're doing right now. But they do give out 2 awards now. And this is a thing where it's like, okay, you can either be marketable or you can go for like strive for like quality. And either one of those things is fair game, or you can try to cover both ground by attempting to accomplish both. That's stupid. I'm not advocating for that necessarily.
Yeah, I feel like that's may have been something that would have been a good idea, but it's to establish that you have a winner,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the one winner. There's no other, like, yeah, you have the Marcel Bezenson Awards, but like,
And nobody
that's
cares
different.
about those.
Or bring it in, like, actual broadcast it, because it's the EBU,
Yeah,
like,
people would
organize
care
it.
about
Like,
it if they
actually bring this
broadcast
in.
it.
Mhm.
People would care about them more if they broadcast it, which is, I guess, sort of what I'm saying, where it's like you have
Like, as soon as the voting has, like, that window is done, before you get into the, like, the another 15 interval acts, here are the awards.
Yeah, or if you want the people to then still vote on the Marcel Bezenson Awards based on what happens on the night, you could just do all of that on a big press conference Sunday kind of deal. Plus after party nonsense like that, then you can still get the Sunday evening news coverage kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then again news coverage on Monday. So you get the maximum media attention, plus also it's a nice way to close off the contest. And you can also throw in other different random awards, like San Marino did this year with Una Voce. It's like, oh, best dressed, and some other awards that even the presenters didn't know what it was. I'm like, why not? Have some fun with it.
I really should have prepared a list, shouldn't I?
Mm.
With like points.
I mean,
So that I could actually be able to argue the vibes that I'm trying to see in the world.
My list is bare bones.
Okay.
But speaking of my list,
Yes.
I
Do you want to
think
take a
I
turn?
do have a point. I'll combine two into one. We need to change how the qualifiers are qualifying. Yeah, you've got 10 people qualifying. I would actually say further to my original point about like the top five non-automatic qualifier countries that should still qualify. So you're going to have more countries automatically in the final, like you did have in pre-2 semi-finals. Further to that, you should also have a split in how they're decided. I do not advocate getting rid of the jury. The jury is very good. It, for the most part, picks better songs. Yeah, it has some wobbles. Like
The juries need more oversight, but we shouldn't throw them away.
Yeah, so I would pick based on half of them are decided by the televote, half are decided by the jury. Have the jury pick their five favorites, however many it's going to be. Then of the rest, the televote picks theirs, because then you're still having the televote reigning supreme over the jury vote. And you're also having a lot more diversity in the final, because you're not just going to have the middle of the road that appeals to the lowest common denominator. And of the juries, everyone says that we need to increase the number of jurors, which we do, but nothing is going to change if we don't change how the jurors are voting. We need to go back to the pre-2013 system of when the jurors, instead of saying 1 to 26 and then combine them together, 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10, and combine those together to get a ranking, because you're disincentivizing anything that's bold, because someone can stick at 26 and then it's out of the average top 10 because one person in that jury didn't like it.
So I just had something occur to me.
That's dangerous.
It's only potentially related. It's only tangentially related to what you just said. And you're both going to bully me for it.
It's
As
be
is
regardless,
tradition.
even if we agree with it.
So right now, the way the jury system is set up, right? You have, how many is it, like 5?
Yep.
Jurors from each country doing their rankings separately.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not allowed to vote for
I think I
their
know
own.
what you're going to say, and I hate this.
What do you think I'm going to say? And let you
You're
guess.
going to say combine all them into one big jury, and no.
Well, why not? With the
The
restriction that
spirit-
one is still not allowed to rank one's own country. And then you can, and then, okay, and so if the EBU wants to continue doing this split result thing that they've been doing since 2016, they can have the international televote people deliver the televote points
No.
from 1 to 12, and then deliver the jury
Also,
results.
ban the international televote. I have many issues with that.
Oh yeah, that's stupid. We should definitely get rid of that. Not
And this
the
is
point.
coming from someone who's in a non-voting country, so like, yay.
You or me?
You.
Yeah, I was
What you
gonna
just
say
said.
you can vote. I don't know I don't know what you're talking about. For me, it's more fun when I can't vote. But now deliver your takedown of my crackpot idea.
I mean,
Angus, do you want to go first?
look, okay, I'm going to make a counter proposal to this, which is even more hateful, but I think might not be the worst idea possible. Okay, so we do both for every. So you have the national jury vote. So you know the 5 juries per country, or they can be smaller, bigger, whatever. But you have the national jury votes, and then separately you have the communal ranking. Then you have the national televotes, and then just say fuck it, we do the junior Eurovision style, like everyone gets to vote, who gives an F, or we combine it somehow. But we just combine everything, so you have like, because now it's just fully electoral college nonsense, and then we can just combine the two a little bit. And why not overcomplicate things? Give us more stuff to spreadsheet and fight about.
We do love a spreadsheet here at that Eurovision site.
I think this is just 1 degree of separation away from how bad a demiscopic jury is.
Now, can one of you explain to me what the hell that is?
Do you understand how opinion polls work?
No.
So opinion polls, they'll say, okay, 20, so they'll get like 1,000 people, and then of that 1,000, okay, 10% of this people who voted in this jury were men between 25 and 34, who have the X, Y, and Z backgrounds, but that makes up 8% of the actual population of the country. So they decrease the weight of that, what they have voted, and vice versa, upping and downing all of those until you get all of the votes and their opinions in the demiscopic poll are reflective of the actual country.
Okay.
And it's terrible. It's not a televote.
I'm confused.
And that's what that's what Spain does.
And what
Okay.
Sanremo did. Does? Question mark.
Did
They
does.
had.
I have no idea.
This is
I
this
don't watch
is this
Sanremo.
like a politics thing? Is this like a politics nerd thing to
No,
understand
this is opinion poll thing.
Well, well, that is, to understand opinion polls, you're most likely going to be a politics nerd unless you're really deep into the weeds in having done a marketing degree.
And I may be one of two people at the website who is not a massive politics nerd. The other one being, I think, maybe Tim. So
But
We never know. Tim
anyway,
might have a secret political double life.
The entire system of opinion polls and everything is very interesting and old, etc., etc. And demoscopic voting panels are, because of that, there are arguments for them, but in general they are very cursed. They're just cursed on so many levels.
So
But just
what are
going back
you
to your
recommending?
point of like combining them all together, I think that erodes the spirit of multilateralism that Eurovision leans into.
I don't know this word.
So multilateralism is, in this context, is the idea that every country has its own say. We've made Angus disappear.
Has fully disappeared.
Yeah,
Angus
I
fully
just lean
disappeared.
in, but it makes me disappear. Honestly, perfect, because this video has gone so off the rails.
Like the idea that San Marino of its 35,000 people are equal to Germany of its 80 million people, which to be fair is true.
I mean, but
Because
San Marino doesn't
it's
get to
one
vote.
country.
Now,
They
but
don't
keep
have
in
a
mind that
televote.
I'm from a nation that uses the fucking electoral college, and see how much I care about the tiny nation being equivalent to the big nation. I'll tell you one thing, I care not one bit.
Yeah, but it's not really the same though, because you're voting for two candidates over 50, and it doesn't really equivalent to the same of like 43 different songs and 43 different songs. So it's not.
I was
It doesn't
trying
really
to
work
make a
out the
joke
same.
and be haha funny.
You're speaking to politics twats. We're not going to allow you to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I
should
would
not
s-
erode the spirit of multilateralism, which is
W-
also why
should-
I don't think we should allow the international televote, because it's silly. It does the voting power, sorry, the economic power of someone in the US compared to someone in, say, South Africa doesn't work. It's all the same price. Plus you also have people saying, well, I've got 5 credit cards, so I'm going to vote 5 times.
Is a bit silly.
Yeah. It's the same with people that do like 5 ESC 250 votes. It's like, no, how dare you? This violates the spirit of the contest.
It's cheating. So,
Yeah.
okay. You were saying something about the juries. I was saying something about the juries, and I was responding to something that you said. What was the original point that we were going on here?
Well, you came up with your point about wanting to change the voting system. Euan had previously mentioned that he had a point about juries that he was going to get into later. I'm not sure, like, he hasn't made a proposal yet, but I don't know how much he's gotten into it already. I think that's just the thing.
I think we should just move on to our next controversial point.
Yeah,
Who
because
wants
I've
to go
lost the
next?
plot.
Who wants to go next? I've got one that's not controversial, but it
Okay.
will absolutely destroy some countries. You already have the rule of, if you are one singer, you can only represent one country at a time. Should be the same for songwriters.
Yes. Yes.
Because why are we getting a million Thomas Cheeston songs?
Also, it actively screws over some countries. Like sometimes you don't know that you're getting a song from a songwriter that's going to write for someone else as well. Especially then they go on to write for their own country, and then obviously the country that's not their own country is almost always going to have the worst song, just definitionally, and you might just be shit out of luck.
And it's just
Which-
there's so much carpetbagging of like just well, I've got my hopes on this one, my own national one, but I'm just gonna send like 5 out of 5 different countries anyway. It's like, yeah, there's some of them like, yeah, some of those people, I love their songwriting, but they shouldn't be allowed to do that. I should not be going into like several different national finals, listen to all songs, and ending up with my favorite song or my least favorite song being written by the same person. And Angus, controversial point. I think you've got one.
Euan,
Locked and loaded.
my controversial take is that Euan, that was a great take. That
Yes.
was like universally
I'm going to give myself a round of applause because I'm amazing.
that was so uncontroversial. Like
Honestly,
I'm proud
I
of
feel
you.
like in like to us because we have taste. I'm
Since
willing
when does
to.
this group
I'm
of
willing
people
to
have
Look,
taste?
Shiloh,
compared to
there
the
are
rest of
no
the people on the site.
there are
Huh?
no mellow fans on this panel.
Yeah, so
Here's
I feel
the
like
now. I don't
we've
think
definitely.
that I don't think that even the Mellow fans would find this particularly controversial though, because
Oh,
it means
they
that all
would.
these Swedish songwriters would just go to Mellow.
Oh no,
Yeah,
they
but
would
then
find it controversial.
they'll be like, oh my god, I can't have my favorite terrible Swedish songwriter who writes my generic girly pop attempt at a banger in every single national final. They would have to actually like listen to them and find a new song that they don't like, the new song that they like. It's actually like homegrown talent.
We shouldn't bully our friends. That's not nice.
They should
I
get better
say,
taste.
bullying you mercilessly.
I don't even know who that would be like targeted at.
I don't know either. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess let's get something controversial.
I've been thinking about like all the contests, and I understand why we can't have the full orchestra back, and I understand why we can't have fully live instrumentation, even though we should. I propose a compromise. And that is we go back to every instrument used but back in the day when you had the orchestra, if you used an instrument that wasn't in the orchestra, you need to have it on the stage for a little while. That's why you have that one random performance with the computer monitors on the stage.
Gina G.
Exactly. I want that back, as in I want the instruments that are in the song to be present on stage. And if it's a fully computerized song, I just want the shittiest 60 supercomputer you can find on that stage, swallowing up the entire thing, so we can't have a single dance break within a mile of the stage because it's full of tapes and heavy metals.
This is interesting because my next point was actually also a compromise on the orchestra.
Mine was not a compromise on the orchestra. I don't care. It is possible. National finals prove it. We can have an orchestra back. We can have live instrumentals. People say, "Oh, but the cost of it." How much does it cost to send a film crew to 40 different countries to record a stupid 20-second video clip? Quite a lot. You can put all that like Eurovision wastes money in so many different ways. It can put some money into an orchestra if it wants to. It's just a really pathetic argument at this point, and I hate it. We need live instrumentals back because we're never going to have proper rock in the contest unless we have live instrumentals. It's incredibly disrespectful to non-vocalists that their instruments and their abilities are just shoved to the side.
Like I think that there should be some kind of ability to hold a referendum on it. Like where you get the national broadcasters together and you just sort of lay things out and give the opportunity for it to be a community decision as opposed to the head of the EBU waking up one morning and deciding, well, I think we should do it this way. I think that there should be some kind of discussion held around bringing it back and at least put the idea in people's heads in tandem with the thing that Angus suggested.
But I also do agree with that idea of Angus, like we should have all the instruments.
Mhm.
Good.
Just even if it means we have some random Spanish man very badly pretending to play the guitar because they
That's
all
fine.
miss their
Like,
key.
hell, I'd even be fine with them just having the guitar standing on stage, so we can all like point and laugh at like, lol, the guitar standing on stage, and he's not even looking at it because he obviously can't really play it. Can I throw in a quickly, probably uncontroversial take in here as well?
Oh,
Well,
totally.
I've done all my controversial ones, so like let's get this out there.
Okay, we need better music at Eurovision, and the biggest problem with good music at music at Eurovision, and multiple people have agreed with me on this, even Eurovision artists,
The
is
Netherlands.
the production is bad. A lot of the production is bad. I know we can't help that necessarily, and I know you can only get the producers you can get. But what if we maybe also give out the Marcel Best and Song Awards that we've now made an official like mainstay thing of the contest in this conversation? How about we add in like a best production award, for
Oh,
the
that's
best
good,
producer, best
actually. I like that.
production team?
Like I fully agree. If you're gonna bring in the Marcel Besson Award, like it shouldn't just be like 3 weird little things. You're fully like 10 ridiculously niche things of
And
awards,
yeah,
and including production.
and the thing is, like, I know, like, obviously the best way to get good rock music into the contest is to have live instrumentation, but failing that, there are ways to produce it in a way that it sounds good when being played back. It's just that most producers can't do that because it's a dark art. I don't think like it's very hard to quantify.
But I
But
don't think you should need a great producer when you already have a great song.
no, that
That
is
should
true. But I
stand in
think
itself.
that is true. But I'm just saying, like, look, we can all like unify these things. Like, just you can have two different awards, basically. The best producer for the studio cut and the best producer for the Eurovision cut, because we know those two are different for a lot of songs. Like there are songs that are very well produced for the Eurovision album, and then whether it's the same producer or not, they sound like shit. They sound the word. It becomes the worst music you've ever heard, but as soon as it hits the stage, and vice versa, there are songs that do not sound good in a studio environment, but come alive when performed on a Eurovision stage, like regardless of what the vocalists are also doing.
There's some agreement and disagreement in there. So, Shiloh, I think you've gone through all your controversial ones.
I don't have any more takes. I have
I
said
also
everything
don't.
that has popped into my head since I sat down and turned on my computer today. And now I am only here for you guys to bounce your stuff off.
I have said all of mine. As soon as we finish this, I'm probably going to think of 15 more things that we should have said,
Right?
even though I've made a list, because that's just how it always goes. Yeah, and Angus, you've gone through all of yours. I mean, your opinions were terrible, but that's what we expect with Angus being on these
All my
videos.
opinions were terrible. You agreed with over half of them.
So thank you, Eurofans, for listening to us today. So we have 4 ridiculous ideas from this that we kind of agree on, and 4 sensible ideas that we absolutely need to integrate into the contest. Our 4 ridiculous ones, of course: banning Nordic directors, banning dance breaks, banning politics, and banning the Netherlands. And our more sensible ones are songwriters are only allowed to represent one country, minimum length of songs, some form of live instrumentals, although we don't fully agree on how we would implement that, and full integration of the Marcel Bezenson Awards into Eurovision live broadcast and expand the actual range of what is given in those awards. Thank you so much for listening to our opinions, our very good opinions. Definitely not messy in any way. We have been at Eurovision site. Thank you so much for joining me today, Shiloh and Angus. Now remember, we might be in the low season, but we're going to be into the peak Eurovision season in just a few weeks away, because that September 1st is rolling very, very fast.
And we're going to continue to have unhinged content for you.
Oh, we're going to have unhinged content from out season, normal season, just like, because it's that Eurovision site, the site of the haters. So to do so, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Tumblr, Blue Sky, and on Spotify, Apple Music, and of course YouTube for all of our content, because we're going to have more things like this and interviews as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, and stick around for the next one. Bye.